All right, let's dive into a thought experiment that really pushes the boundaries of what science can do. It all boils down to one simple but kind of huge question. Is knowing every single fact about the world the same as actually, well, experiencing it? Let's get into it.
So let me ask you this. Imagine you wanted to learn how to swim. You could read every book ever published on the topic, right? You could master the physics of buoyancy, understand the complete biology of every muscle movement, even the chemistry of chlorinated water. You'd be a walking encyclopedia of swimming. But would you know what it feels like to jump into the pool? To feel that cold shock of the water, the struggle, the feeling of floating for the first time? That gap, right there, that's exactly what we're talking about today.
To really explore this idea, we've got to imagine a pretty strange place, a world that is, quite literally, black and white. And this is where we meet our main character, Mary. And when I say she's smart, I mean she's a world-class, genius-level neuroscientist. Her whole life is about understanding the world through cold, hard facts. Okay, so here's the setup, and it's a wild one. Mary has lived her entire life, from birth, in a specially constructed black and white room. She sees the outside world only on a black and white screen. But here's the thing. From inside that room, she has learned everything. And I mean literally every single physical fact about our universe, from the biggest galaxies down to the smallest quarks. And ironically, her special area of expertise is the neuroscience of color vision. So just think about what that means. When you look at something red, Mary knows, down to the molecular level, what's happening. She knows the exact wavelength of light hitting your eye, which cone cells are firing, the precise electrical signals shooting down your optic nerve, and exactly which neurons in your brain are lighting up. She knows more about the physics and biology of you seeing red than any person in history. And that, right there, is the million-dollar question. She has all the objective third-person data. But is that the same thing as the subjective first-person experience? Okay, so this is where it all comes to a head, because after a whole lifetime of just theory, Mary is about to come face to face with reality. Just picture it. That door to her colorless world finally swings open, and someone shows her something she's only ever read about, something she's a world expert on but has never, ever seen. A simple, ripe, red apple. So, this is the moment of truth. In that instant, when her brain processes the color red for the very first time, does she learn something new? Does her knowledge of the universe expand even a little bit? Remember, she supposedly already knew every physical fact there was to know. So, what do you think? Now, this exact question basically splits philosophers right down the middle. On one side, you have the physicalists. They say that everything is physical, period. So for them, Mary learns absolutely nothing new. She already had all the physical data, her brain is just processing it in a new way. But the other side argues, no, she definitely learns something profoundly new, that the raw feeling of seeing red is a new piece of information that no amount of data could ever give her. And this non-physical something that she might learn, it has a name, qualia. It's a fantastic word, and it just means the what-it's-likeness of an experience. It's the unique bitterness of coffee, the specific ache of a headache, or in Mary's case, the particular redness of red. You can't measure it, you can't put it in a textbook, but you absolutely know it when you feel it. And the stakes here are just massive, because if Mary does learn something new, it suggests that there's more to reality than just the physical world. It means that our own conscious experience, qualia, is a real fundamental part of the universe, and maybe something that pure science alone can never fully get its hands on. So, what's the big takeaway here? After we follow Mary out of her black and white room and into a world of color, what have we learned? I think the core idea is this. Our attempts to describe reality are always going to be incomplete, you know? All our words, all our data, all our scientific theories, they're like a map. They're incredibly useful, but they are never, ever the actual place itself. This is honestly the perfect analogy. You can have the most detailed, scientifically precise recipe for a chocolate cake. You can know the chemical structure of every ingredient and the physics of the oven. But none of that, absolutely none of it, tells you what it's actually like to take that first delicious bite. So it really seems like we're talking about two totally different kinds of knowledge. First, there's factual knowledge, the stuff you learn from books, the physics, the biology. And then there's experiential knowledge, the stuff you can only get by living, by doing, by feeling it for yourself.
And that's the beautiful, almost poetic conclusion of this whole thing. Science is amazing. It's our best tool for figuring out how the world works. But Mary's story reminds us that the why of it all, the richness, the beauty, the meaning, that stuff isn't found in explaining life, it's found in living it.
So, I'll just leave you with this to chew on. What's the red apple in your own life? What's that one feeling, that one experience, that one piece of understanding you have that you just know is true, but you could never, ever fully explain to another person in words? It's a pretty interesting thing to think about.